This show is brought to you by
GCC bond and sukuk issuance drop in Q1, and Saudi's economy grows 3.9% in the first quarter. You're watching the Daily Brief with Forbes. I'm Ramia Faraj. Primary issuance of bonds and sukuk in the GCC reached $28.3 billion in Q1, a 22.1% drop from the $36.3 billion raised in Q1 2022. A Markaz research report reveals there were 62 primary debt issuances in the GCC in Q1 compared to 76 issuances for the same period last year. Saudi-based issuers led the GCC bonds and sukuk market during Q1 2023, raising a total of $21.3 billion and representing 75.4% of the total value raised in the GCC. This was followed by the UAE with 19.9% of the total primary issuances and equivalent to $5.6 billion. Saudi's economy grew 3.9% year-on-year in Q1, backed by the expansion of non-oil activities. Government statistics reveal non-oil activities expanded 5.8% in Q1 year-on-year. Government services activities grew by 4.9%. Oil activities, meanwhile, grew by 1.3%. Saudi saw the biggest growth among Arab countries in 2022, with its real GDP expanding by 8.7%, according to the IMF. But the IMF projects Saudi GDP growth will more than halve to 3.1% this year. Saudi's Kingdom Holding Company has injected an additional $73.1 million into the UK's Phoenix Group, boosting its stake in the long-term savings and retirement business to 5%. A bourse filing on Tadawul shows the investment holding company raised its share in the British life insurance company from a previous 4%. The move comes after KHC said last week that it invested an additional $60.8 million in European insurance firm M&G, raising its ownership in that business to 6.4% from 5.3%. The Arab League welcomes Syria back among its members, concluding a 12-year suspension since it was shunned due to President Bashar al-Assad's crackdown on peaceful political protests in the country. Syria can resume its participation in Arab League meetings immediately. Arab governments will work on a solution to the crisis resulting from its civil war, including the influx of refugees to neighboring countries and drug smuggling. A ministerial contact group will be created within the League to negotiate step-by-step solutions to the crisis. Berkshire Hathaway has reported a year-on-year surge in its Q1 net earnings to $35.5 billion compared to $5.6 billion in Q1 2022. It's thanks in part to a rebound in the conglomerate's insurance business, and it reflects gains from stocks like Apple. A 27% surge in Apple's stock price was registered, leaving Berkshire with a $151 billion stake in the iPhone maker. Berkshire bought back $4.4 billion worth of stock, the most since Q1 2021. China's exports are expected to have risen again in April, albeit at a less robust pace than a month earlier. A Reuters poll of 27 economists shows exports were likely supported by unfulfilled orders after last year's COVID disruptions. Outbound shipments last month are expected to show growth of 8% year-on-year, following an unexpected surge of 14.8% in March. Imports are still expected to paint a less favorable picture of the overall economy, with economists predicting no growth. And an experimental Chinese spacecraft returned to Earth today after staying in orbit for 276 days. China's state media say it completes a landmark mission to test the country's reusable space technologies. No details were given on what the uncrewed spacecraft was, what technologies were tested, how high it flew, and where its orbits took it since its launch last year. But media say the test marks an important breakthrough in its research into reusable spacecraft technology that will provide a more convenient and inexpensive way to mount future space missions. I'm Ramia Faraj. This is the Daily Brief. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.